Welcome to Lowcountry View with Earl Yates. I'm your host, and today my lovely guest. And this is going to be a great show, not only because of the topic. Of course, Central Oak Grove Baptist Church has their youth revival dance and music extravaganza, which I used to, attend Central Oak Grove Baptist Church, and that makes it special. But also the two guests I have on, Miss Marion Payne and, come on, Kiana Short. She's really excited about being on. She's not nervous at all. That's what impressed me the most. But we'll get to know both of them briefly, and then we'll go on to the show to find out exactly why you need to attend this extravaganza going on this month in November. Miss Payne, how are you?
I'm fine.
Miss Short.
Hi, how are you?
See, I told you I wouldn't mess up your name.
Thank you.
I'll let you start. Just give our viewers a little background on Miss Payne and where you're from and what brought you to Hilton Head and why you decided you were going to be a member at the Central Oak Grove Baptist Church.
Thank you. I moved here to Hilton Head 11 years ago after 30 years in the Maryland area. I was a school principal there. I moved here because of the weather and the great opportunities for outdoor sports and all of those things. I have since come to realize that that's not the most important thing about being here. It's the people. That's what has really made this so special a decision that my husband and I made to move here from Maryland, the cold weather and all those things.
But you're also an avid tennis player, so that's probably one of the reasons this was a pretty good spot, huh?
I have golf clubs and yes. I play tennis.
There you go. And Central Oak Grove, how did you come across this church, such a lovely little church?
I love the expression that our pastor, Pastor Lewis Johnson, uses as this little church with a big heart. And this church really has meant so much to me. My first visit to Central Oak Grove was in January 2008. I went there because First Lady at the time was campaigning. First Lady Michelle Obama was in the town on the island campaigning for the President Obama. I went to the church, and that was the beginning. I just felt like nice place to go, and visited from time to time from 2008 until a year ago. A year ago, my husband and I decided that's the church we wanted to join. And what led me to joining and making that decision was the Christian Education Ministry, which is awesome. It's awesome because it's the church that I think has the most involvement of youth of any that I've been associated with. And I was a Sunday school teacher when I was 12 years old, so I've been around churches a long time, but this one is really inspiring.
Well, absolutely. And of course, youth should be the most important key to absolutely everything we do. Of course, and being a principal, because that's the basis of the foundation of what's going to take you forward. So if your youth are not active in it, you're looking at a short-lived program.
Absolutely.
And which brings us to Miss Kiana.
Yes.
You're the vice president of the youth program there.
Yes.
Okay. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
I'm Kiana. I'm 17. I'm a junior in high school at the moment. I am the vice president of our youth department. My president is Alicia Robinson. She couldn't be here today. She was more shy than I was. What brought me to Central Oak Grove was my father. He's a deacon there, Deacon Albert Mitchell. And I just love how there was so much teenagers and you can be so involved. I started going there when I was 12, so it's been a long time.
It's not that long.
it's 5 years.
For you, I understand.
And I immediately joined their dance program, the dance group. Okay. And then I started singing in the choir, and it was just amazing, the teenagers and the little kids that's coming up now, how they look at us. It's just amazing being that role model for them. So I am from Ridgeland, yes. By the way, yeah. So that was always fun for me.
Well, nice. Of course, you've taken on a leadership pretty much position in the church.
Yeah.
Now, are you the same way in school? I know you have these huge aspirations for school also. Tell our viewers a little bit about you and your schooling.
I recently just left Ridgeland when I was a sophomore. I decided to transfer to Hilton Head because I just like everybody who graduates from there, like they go into exceptional schools like the Citadel or whatever. And right now I'm striving to be valedictorian of my graduating class in 2013. It's like my grade is skyrocketing. It's like amazing, and like the teachers there, like they take time and help you. It's fun. Like I just love it, and I have planned to go to Lander or NCCU in North Carolina. It's just, I love school there. Like here, like it's just so fun.
Well, just remember, once your school takes you to wherever your schooling takes you, wherever you go, remember about the church.
Oh,
Make sure
always.
Oh, absolutely. Now, since you're one of the forefront leaders of this program, tell us a little bit about the program that's taking place this coming November 14th.
Okay, well, November 14th through the 16th, we have our youth revival, and it's just like speakers come and like they give us insight on how to be a better person, a leader. And on the 19th is our youth explosion, and it's just dancing and singing. Other churches come to participate, and it's amazing seeing like the other dance groups from little kids to older kids, like adults practically, and they come and they dance and sing, and it's phenomenal actually. It's like, oh my gosh, it's out of this world. Like that's why we're here actually promoting it, so people can come out and like be a part of it.
Well, of course, I mean everyone should feel that, you know, anything the youth are doing, you need to jump on board. But special for you, I mean, here it is, you're talking about your future not only in the church but also in education, and it just happens, you know, you're blessed to where you have role models, and a wonderful female role model like Miss Payne there, who's gone through the whole gambit as far as education and faith is still intact. And wow, what better mentor to have in the church than right there. And for you, Miss Payne, you just have to marvel. I mean, for me, I understand. I've raised, my family's probably, I'd say, on my mother's side, which, you know, that's the side that I've spent most of my life with. It's probably 75% women. So, you know, I grew up with, you know, whether it was my sisters or my cousins or everything, there was always an influence of females in my life. So it must be wonderful for you to have young ladies like Kiana that you can impact still, even though you're outside of the school.
It does. It does indeed feel good to be able to watch the development of young ladies like Kiana. They're amazing. I'm telling you, I'm just so thrilled to be a part of the Christian Education Ministry. And there's a group of young people that are the younger. I've chosen to also work with the 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. And we then give Kiana and her age group the opportunity to even step in between us and be role models for these younger girls in church coming up. But they're all so supportive of one another, and that's what I think is wonderful. They're very supportive of one another. Now, not to take away from the fact that we have a very strong male program also.
Yes.
And our friend, Brother Gary Carter, is very instrumental in working with the young men, along with Pastor Johnson and the other men in the church.
Well, you know, I was going to ask you to sing, but I'm not going to put you in the spot like that.
Oh no, I'd probably faint.
You wouldn't faint, come on. But now this is coming. What's the one thing, if you want to tell our viewers, one reason why it's a must that they come out to Central Oak Grove Baptist Church during this program, this extravaganza? What's the one thing you would tell them?
I would tell them it touches you, like, because so much is going on so fast. Like, kids are dying rapidly, not knowing who God is. And me being there since I was 12, it's good that you know who He is, because, like, right now, we were actually having a seminar on bullying. And, like, the things that's it's happening so fast. And our theme is waging war against peer pressure, bullying. Like, I mean, like, it's there. Like, why don't you come to a place where someone can help you? Like, I mean, I'm not a good speaker myself, but it's just good, like, touching somebody, getting them involved, getting them to know who God is. Like, it's just there.
Well, I tell you, you say you're not a great speaker, but, you know, some of your relatives that, you know, I'm pretty familiar. I'm sure Tammy or Michelle couldn't get up and do what you're doing now. See, now you're come on. I've been here forever. Well, I tell you, Kiana, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
for
you.
sure. I'm telling you, it's a small island. We're more linked than you think.
In
We are.
fact, could I say one more
Absolutely.
thing about that? Being a small island, I really think that this is another way that the community can get behind and support an issue, as Kiana just mentioned, that's an issue not just for schools, but for the community at large, and that is the issue of bullying, the issue of having teenagers or young people realize that there are pressures coming from all sides. And I don't wear my religion on my sleeve, not at all, but I do know the value of supporting one another, the community supporting the school supporting the church, and so on. So I asked Kiana earlier, I said, do your friends in school know about the week of revival, the 3 days of revival, and about the youth explosion on Saturday? She says she's telling them about it, even if they're not church members, to come because there's something in this for everybody. And our goal is to pack the church. And I think we can pack the church with people like Kiana and the youth in this church and the youth in this community supporting this as another way of outreach and looking at the issues that are facing our youth. We'd like to see the house be packed on Saturday, November 19th.
Well, usually I end the segment with something like that, but there's nothing else for me to say. Thank you very much, Ms. Payne. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
And this has been Lowcountry View with Earl Yates. I'm your host, of course, and I've had my lovely guests on, Kiana and Mrs. Payne, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and make sure we see you out there. You take care and have a good one. I'll see you in just a bit. Welcome back to Lowcountry View with Earl Yates. I'm your host, and today, Kevin Smolik, and I have Julian Weston. These gentlemen are from Ducks Unlimited. Even more than from Ducks Unlimited, these guys are gentlemen of the Lowcountry. Now, and fellow hunters and conservation specialists for our area. Of course, they'll let you know a little bit about Ducks Unlimited, but also let you know the side and the perspective you'll see from the gentlemen who go out on a week-to-week basis and hunt, fish, and have such a great appreciation for the area we have. There's such huge misconceptions of these gentlemen who liked the sport of hunting and fishing that, you know, I'm happy to have them here so they can set the record straight and let you know a little bit about themselves, and also tell you how important Ducks Unlimited is to our wetlands and everything else that they take care of. So without further ado, Kevin, how we doing, sir?
Good. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Thank you, Earl.
Absolutely. Kevin, start off a little bit. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with Ducks Unlimited and what you do.
I came down here in 1999, and the first thing I did was call my friend Julian here and get involved with the local Ducks Unlimited chapter. And since then, I've been busy with it. I was the chairman here for 5 years, and pretty proud of the things we did during that time. We made it into the top 100 one year, which out of more than 3,000 chapters in the country, getting into that top 100 group is a pretty good achievement for a chapter like ours.
And what do you pride yourself on? Of course, getting into that top 100, there's obviously a strong focus on a lot of things that go on. What would you say your chapter here, you guys focus on most?
Well, fundraising is the major focus for the grassroots effort of Ducks Unlimited, and that's nationwide. Because the money we raise in the grassroots level is about $50 million a year. Well, Ducks Unlimited nationally takes that money, and they can double and triple that amount of money. So nationally, they end up with about $200 million a year. Now, that 90% of that money goes directly to land purchase and management projects. We only have about a 3% administration fee at a national level for Ducks Unlimited.
Nice. Well, Julian, give us a little background of how Ducks Unlimited was found, you know, what they specialize in, and what you look towards the future as far as helping for the wetlands.
Well, Ducks Unlimited started in 1937. It was during a period of the Dust Bowl when you had a group of duck hunters basically that saw the problems of nesting, problems of development coming, and needed to conserve habitat for waterfowl, not just ducks, but geese and other species. So over the years, it's grown from just that small group to thousands and thousands of volunteers and membership to preserve more of wetland habitat. So it's a conservation and wetlands habitat conservation program that Ducks Unlimited does. So over those years, volunteers like Kevin and myself, as well as many others in our group, work every year towards a lot of different events that we put on, but our main one is the conservation banquet that's coming up to raise funds for these conservation programs throughout Canada, United States, and Mexico, as well as South Carolina.
And where is this banquet taking place?
It's going to be at Honeyhorn Plantation at the Coastal Discovery Museum on Saturday the 19th.
Now, how long have you been in Ducks Unlimited?
I moved here in 1989, and I've been involved with Ducks Unlimited for about 20 years.
Wow. Yeah. Now, obviously you're an avid hunter and fisher. What does it mean to you? Of course, you were pretty inspired to join Ducks Unlimited because of being an outdoorsman for the most part and seeing it. What is the biggest misconception you would find that people would immediately think of when you say, oh, you know, I'm a hunter, I'm a fisher, and pretty much what do they think of you and what do they not know about gentlemen like yourself and Kevin?
Well, I think the misconception is that most people think that hunters, fishermen are people that abuse the resource, and it's quite the contrary. We work hard through our organization to preserve the resource and promote the conservation of the wetlands, which again benefit hundreds of species of waterfowl as well as other animals. So we promote that because of a great appreciation of the outdoors.
I think you'd find that most of the people that are involved in conservation organizations like Ducks Unlimited also tend to belong to organizations like the Nature Conservancy,
Audubon Society.
A lot of the other game-related organizations, which took a chapter from Ducks Unlimited book, like the Turkey Federation and Pheasants Forever and the National Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And you'll find that those people all have something in common, and they want to preserve the land and the heritage which they cherish.
Now, your chapter in this area, Kevin, how many people do you have in your chapter, give or take, any given year?
Our committee tends to vary a little bit, but normally we run about 20, 30 pretty solid committee people who organize and put on the events that we have every year.
So, if one was supposed to desire to join Ducks Unlimited, how would you do that?
Well, you can call us by the numbers on the prompter, and we can give you information. We've got a Facebook site, which is Hilton Head Bluffton Ducks Unlimited, as well as you can go on any one of the websites for South Carolina Ducks Unlimited, scdu.org, and there's links to our chapter, also as well as the general Ducks Unlimited site for national, which has links down to the different state chapters.
Now, if there's a different view or a different plan of attack that you guys have come over, especially since, like we spoke before the camera came on, about in this area the largest problem would be overdevelopment. Is there a view that you guys have taken on now that you have to head in a certain direction in order to continue to conserve land that you've had for this period of time now?
Well, I think that's mostly left up to the folks with Ducks Unlimited on a national level, where best to put the dollars that we raise and send to them. Obviously, there's a focus throughout all the different flyways from Canada down through the United States, all the way to Mexico. And South Carolina has been a focus of Ducks Unlimited in the past, and has conserved 160,000 acres within South Carolina. The two main areas being the Ace Basin and then the Santee Delta, which are very large areas for our flyway with marsh, areas. So we pretty much raise the money for Ducks Unlimited and let them use those funds where they're best served for the corporate mission.
But again, you'll find that the people that help support DU and they're committed to organizations like ours, they're the same people out in Bluffton right now trying to keep the May River clean, or fighting against, you know, too many docks on the Colleton. It's the same group of people. You know, their interests are in habitat and making sure our waters are clean and our marshes are going to be there for the future.
Well, it would only make sense if you're a basketball player, you want to make sure that you have as many basketball courts around as possible. So
Exactly.
if you're a hunter, of course, you want to make sure the wetlands are intact and not overgrown with us deciding that we want to build homes and everything like that to
Yeah,
keep your
and,
game.
you know, the May River stays clean so we all can enjoy oysters in the winter. And
Right. Well, the wetlands also act as a huge ecological buffer for runoff and those types of things. So, and it's the wetlands are basically a filter for runoff. And not only do they benefit the different species of birds and animals, but they help the ecology to
downstream from the marsh.
To basically, you know, regulate itself. So it keeps things in a natural state.
And I guess you would have to spend a great deal of time, be a woodsman like yourself, an outdoorsman, in order to get a good appreciation, a good feel of exactly what's going on. I mean, people like myself, sure, we say we want to protect wetlands and things like that.
Well,
but
it helps to appreciate
Yes.
it, and, you know, on a frosty morning out in the marsh. You know, even when it's just you and your dog and a few ducks flying around and the sun's coming up, I think it puts things in a different perspective for you.
For sure. Now, what would one expect when they came out to Honey Horn and to this banquet?
Well, we start at 5 o'clock, and we have dinner. We've got a dinner, open bar. We've got a lot of different games that we play, raffles, and live auction, silent auction, that type of thing. Some of the items that we raffle and auction are wildlife art, hunting guns, a lot of different art pieces.
We have a fishing trip, a local fishing
We've got
trip.
some trips.
You know, a few local trips like that we auction
Hopefully
off
we'll
every
have
year.
we usually have a puppy. We're still hopefully going to get one, but we're waiting to see.
Oh, there you
The
go.
auction list kind of varies from year to year,
does.
so. But
Well,
it's always a great time, and everybody enjoys it.
Well, I tell you, it's before we came on, of course, I had no clue to how much conservation Ducks Unlimited really does, and that's one of the reasons why I certainly accepted, you know, the invitation. to
We're
have
pretty
you guys
proud
on,
of that.
for sure.
I mean, we're right there. We're right behind the Nature Conservancy, like I said, as I've mentioned before, and that's a big step. I think that's a big thing.
And I think one of the things to be proud of is the amount of money that Ducks Unlimited puts towards the resource. They put 81% of their dollars raised directly into the resource. So a very efficient organization.
Yeah, there's not too many nonprofit organizations out there that can say they
Right.
put that much.
No, they can't.
Right.
Kevin, Julian, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
For sure. Well, of course, this has been Lowcountry View, and for the second segment, I've had Kevin and Julian on, telling you a little bit about our wetlands. These guys, what you would know now from this show is that our hunters, our fishers, these gentlemen that are constantly in our environment, they really know what we need as a whole as far as to take care of the land and appreciate what we have. Because, of course, in the Lowcountry, that's what we're all about. Our beaches, our marshes, and these environments these guys are in on a daily basis. So who better to put it in the hands of taking care of it than those who use it most? This has been Lowcountry View with Earl Yates, and it was a pleasure. Have a great day.